If they never asked for your side of the story, then the side that they heard is exactly how they feel about you. Never explain yourself to people who are already dedicated to misunderstanding you.
Have you ever stepped into a room and it just felt off? Like you're moving through a world that doesn't quite fit you? Not because of anything you did wrong, but because everyone there is reading you the wrong way. You feel it. It's unsettling. Every gesture you make, every word you say, every silence, they twist it into something you never meant. Their eyes tell a story that isn't yours. The whispers fill the gaps with assumptions that feel like invisible walls, and you walk through it anyway. How does it feel to be misread? To know your intentions, your thoughts, and your quiet actions are constantly interpreted through someone else's lens. Do you try to explain yourself, or do you stop, realizing that nobody's really listening anyway? I'll tell you what, you're not imagining it. This happens to everyone at some point, but for some, it's constant. A life lived under the distortion of other people's perception. It's like walking through a hall of mirrors, where none of the reflections are accurate, and each step can feel heavier than the last.
So I believe that people choose to misunderstand you, and the reason why is because they are not moving in good faith. And more simply, the reason is because they don't like you. Let's work through an example, and I'm sure by the end of it, you'll see exactly what I mean. So let's say you were surrounded by coworkers or even other students, and you make this declaration. You say, you know what? I think dogs are the best pets. Dogs are the best pets. And you scream it, you belt it out so that the entire world can hear it. So your classmates, your coworkers, whoever, they're accepting this information, and one person in the back is a little teed off. They're a little ticked off by your comment. So they come up to you and they come to your face and they simply say, "Oh, so you hate cats? What's wrong with cats?" Now you're a little taken back because they made a comment about cats, even though your original statement was about dogs and why you think dogs are the best pets, right? So when I've found myself in this situation in the past, I've always tried to think about what I would do if there was some sort of misunderstanding. And the conclusion that I always came up with was I would naturally ask a clarifying question. So if I were in this situation, I would say something like, why do you think dogs are the best pets? Or even better, well, I like cats, so do you think you would have an opinion on cats? What are your thoughts on cats? I think a lot of people find themselves in these situations and they don't know how to navigate it because they feel as though they're getting put in a box.
Humans misread each other constantly, not because they are malicious. Not all the time. You got to be aware of where the intent is coming from, but because their brains are designed to fill in gaps. When someone behaves differently than expected, their mind reacts instinctively. It invents motives, projects insecurities, and interprets your every move through the lens of their own experience. And due to that experience, if they lack broad experience, then that means that they put you in a smaller box of only of what they've seen. But imagine telling a joke, and instead of laughter, you get suspicion. How many times have you seen this on the internet where somebody is making some type of skit and you read in the comment section, "Oh, you've got real experience in this, huh?" Totally taking the joke out of context, turning it into something else, right? Or offering help, only for it to be seen as a weakness, or speaking calmly while they read arrogance. This isn't about you. It's about the distorted version of you that exists only in their perception. Due to the limited experience, this is how they keep you in that box, and every time you step outside of that box, it becomes an issue. It is literally them malfunctioning off your normal behavior. But to them, the real you is irrelevant. What matters is the story they've created in their mind. The Hall of Mirrors continues. Each reflection wraps your image differently. Some make you appear threatening, others distant, others aloof. And every time someone reacts, they are reacting to the version of you that lives inside their head, not the reality you walk through. This is why people often feel like the world misunderstands them. It's not personal, it's biology, emotion, and expectations in collision. Give you an example.
Hey boo, this is Alexis M. Lott, your accountability coach. I want to tell you, if you're having like a hard time communicating with people, especially people that you care about, and you're trying to figure out where things going left in a relationship, I want to tell you this. People can only hear you through their lens, their trauma, their personality, their hard experiences, their good experiences, but mostly the last story of who you are that exists in their brain is determining what they hear when you say something. You may have the best intentions in the world, but until your message is able to cut through what they heard you say versus what you intended to be heard, then you have to relax and give God time to soften their heart, soften their relationship. And you have to ask yourself, is every time that I feel misunderstood in a conversation, is this time for me to back off, or should I keep going?
Think about it. Even small misreads ripple outward. A friend misinterprets your quiet mood as disapproval. Because you're not interacting with them, they are in their own head, creating their own story. And because you are not interacting in their world, they look at your viewpoint as disapproval before you have even spoke. Or a coworker mistakes focus for arrogance. How many times have you worked a job, right? And your coworker is getting mad that you are actually completing a task rather than wasting time and company's money by draining the clock. How many times have you been questioned why you were completing a task? Distracted from completing the task. And in their mind, they're looking at you as, oh, this is a goody two-shoes. Oh, this person's arrogant. It happens all the time. Or a stranger reads caution as deceit. These minor distortions accumulate until they create social earthquake. Every misinterpretation adds another layer of tension, misunderstanding, and invisible friction. But here's the twist. Being misread often amplifies your presence. People react more strongly to the distorted version of you than they ever would to your real self. You become a character in everyone else's story, forced into roles you never auditioned for. Their anger, their confusion, their envy, they reflect more about them than about you. The more that they dwell in their own world, the deeper in depression and things of that sort that they go into, they have to have somebody to lash out at. And majority of the time it's the person that's nearest. But the consequences, real, palpable, and more importantly, a lot of it is unavoidable. Some misreads are harmless. Some. Others shape relationships, careers, and reputations. You can't stop them. You can only observe them and learn to navigate the chaos they create.
I saw this interesting quote that said, a moment of misunderstanding is so toxic that you could forget 1,000 good moments you had with a person. And the wheels started turning and I wanted to break this down. Because your brain isn't broken when this happens, it's just biased. Your amygdala is like your brain's smoke detector, and I mention it a lot in my videos. It magnifies any conflict like it's a life or death threat. So an argument with your boyfriend is the same hormone release as you being chased by a lion. It floods you with cortisol and shrinks your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for you making logical decisions. Suddenly, in that moment, that one fight erases years of positive feelings because of negativity bias. Your brain has evolved to prioritize threats over joy. Survival is more important than happiness. And we suck at resolving conflict because, one, trauma echoes. That past hurt starts to resurface wounds from your childhood. You sound like my dad. And also a lot of emotional illiteracy. We start to attack people. You never listen. You always do this. You always do that. Instead of voicing the need that you actually feel. Like, I feel unseen in this moment. And also, you get flooded with hormones. Stress hormones hijack your nervous system. It's either fight, flight, or freeze. It is so incredibly difficult to solve problems when you're in survival mode. I have almost torched key partnerships over misread emails. Almost ended whole relationships over one big argument. Because I was so used to how my parents were and not wanting to be like that I brought that into every relationship that I had. Because we weaponize misunderstandings when we're already bruised.
So, a lot of the times you just gotta sit back and you really have to understand. You can't take everything personally. This is where observing the patterns really come into play. Because it's not about you. People misread others because they are distracted by their own lives. Their attention fractures across emotion, past experiences, and expectations. Someone who walks differently, speaks differently, or reacts subtly becomes unpredictable. The mind hates unpredictability. It fills in the blanks on its very own. Every misread is a mirror, but it's a mirror that tells the observer more about themselves than you. Their fear, envy, confusion, it all paints over your reality with their own colors. You are not the problem. You really have to take that into consideration and understanding that when observing the patterns that you aren't the problem. There was a story that was already painted well before you got there. And if you say things like, why me? Again, remember, you are not the problem. It's not you. And if you weren't there, it'd be somebody else. But you are the reflection that refuses to conform. You are the signal in the noise. Think about the last time someone misunderstood you completely. What did you feel? Anger? Frustration? Silence? These moments are powerful because they show the gap between perception and reality and the human cost of that gap.
Always remember that people will willfully misunderstand you. People will be committed to misunderstanding you. And it is not your responsibility to walk up to those people and say, no, this is who I truly am. No, these are my intentions. Let them misunderstand you. Let them misread you. Like, the people who are for you are always going to be for you. They're going to hear you. They're going to understand the nuance and the things that you say. They're going to understand your intention. They're going to understand your humor. They're going to understand your POV. And if they don't, they're going to listen to understand, right? They're not going to listen to misunderstand you. They're not going to wait for you to say the wrong thing so they can say, see, I told you. No, let people misunderstand you because they want to, and that is okay. And those people they're not your people. So why even spend your energy on people who never will understand you? They don't want to understand you. They will never like you because they don't want to like you. So, take your energy back. We're not doing that. Let them.
Being misunderstood is uncomfortable, even isolating, but it also creates space. Space to observe without being fully known. Space to act clearly while chaos churns around you. Space to decide which battles are worth engaging and which are not. The misunderstood learn that silence can speak louder than explanation, because you understand that the more you explain yourself, the more they feed off of it. So it becomes a power dynamic. But persistence can outweigh misunderstanding. You can't control how others see you, but you can control how much you let it affect you. If people want to deem you the bad guy, you know in your heart who you are. But if that is the character that you need to play in their life for them to get better, sometimes they just need an adversary. But every step you take forward, every choice you make grounded in clarity, pushes the distortion back. And slowly, the world begins to react to the real you, not the one they imagine. you learn that misreads are not a reflection of weakness, but of power. The power to exist fully despite the world insisting otherwise. Sometimes it's just good to embrace fully what they are projecting on you, but you never waver. You continue to be who you are. And like a lot of times, like trends and things like that, it takes time for things to come around, right? How many times have you heard someone say about you or observe people talking and say, oh, I thought you were an asshole at first, but you're cool. That's telling you right there that they already had the idea in their head of who this person was before actually getting to know them, before the walls of what they built around their experiences and then projected it on that person. Or how many times have, women been talking and a woman would say, oh, I thought you were stuck up, but you know what? You're really cool. Many times we have heard these things where somebody will openly say, inadvertently, oh, my experience is limited, so I placed you in this box. But you were nothing like that, and what you gave me is the experience of something else. So guess what? When that person carries on with their life and they go in contact and connect with others, they will then take your personality as they are new experiences they have learned and project it onto somebody else, and that person may not get put into a box, but maybe a broader lens that will help that person shape their experience more and more. So many times as you come in contact with people and you are different, what you're doing is actually helping them understand the difference. So it's actually more of a blessing, and this is why you shouldn't really take it to heart.
If you're someone that people always tend to hate and you don't know why, you're like, I'm such a good person, I'm so nice, I'm so kind, I'm so loving, I'm so giving, why do they hate me? Let me break this down for you. Number one, most likely you're an authentic being. You're operating from your truest self. You live on a high frequency. You do things for others out of the goodness of your heart. And this is going to be hard for you to understand, but there's a lot of people out here who do not live like that. They don't think like that. They're very transactional. So when they come into your world and your orbit and you're giving out of the goodness of their heart, they feel shown up because they would have never done that. They're like, I'm not trying to give to nobody and not get anything behind. Am I stupid? Oh, wait. It's the same idea where a lot of people hate people who volunteer, who give back. Think about what they did to Jesus. Oh, so you're giving back and you loving on other people you don't even know. I don't even love the people I do know. I don't even love my own kids. You make them feel bad about themselves and their character. 2, you most likely have a lot of potential. You have natural abilities. People gravitate towards you. People see that. People are attracted to who you are, and what you radiate is internal. A lot of people need external things, status, cars, fashion, drip, this and that to get attention. They can't just walk in a room, be themselves, wear what they want, be what they are. They have to follow the trends. They don't set the trends. So when you are this person and you, again, are being yourself, it's going to piss people off. 3, most likely you are highly, extremely, and very resilient. You've been through a lot of pain, suffering, trauma, setbacks, but it has not held you back. There's a lot of people who know your story and know your journey, and they're like, damn, that would have taken me out. I don't even know how they still up. People don't like that. People don't like to see the fact that you've been through so much and you got back on your 2 feet and kept it moving. People don't like that, especially if they know you. They may be okay to hear about it from a celebrity or a friend of a friend of a friend, but when they're in your circle and they come from similar circumstances and they can see that everything you went through, you were just a seed in the ground. Yes, you went down, but you're sprouting up. Them no want to see that at all. Okay? So if you have these 3 factors and you're pissing people off and you don't know why, I hope I gave you a little insight, because You are a blessing, and don't let anyone rain on your parade, okay? Period.
Being misunderstood is not a weakness. It is proof you are living outside the confines of others' expectations. The world would twist your reflection, project stories onto your silence, and misread your every action, but your reality is yours alone. Walk forward anyway. Leave the monsters behind. And in the wake of misunderstanding, your presence becomes far stronger, far more meaningful than anyone's approval ever could be. The misunderstood are not lost, they are alive, moving, defiant, visible, even when no one else sees. And in that space, you become something the world cannot ignore, and more importantly, the world truly needs. As you step back and really look at the world today, conformity seems to be a thing, right? Choose a side. Be this, be that, think this, think that. And there's no real freedom. And even though the internet and the world is so expansive with information and all that, as you're scrolling and you're looking online, you start to see a pattern in whatever box that you're researching. You notice the pattern, and it's the same thing over and over, just one hand tracing over the next hand. So when you come into and you are not tracing your hand over the hand, or you are acting out of the norm, it makes people suspicious. And I made a video on witch hunts and things like that that you guys can check out in the library. But what people will do is, if it's a crowd, sometimes they will try to enemy of my enemy, right? Where you could bring people together that truly dislike each other, but you are the common goal to hate. And it's because they just misunderstand you, right? But over time, when people get to know you, as long as you don't waver on who you are, they all come around. But it is not your job to forcefully change their mind. It is not your job to explain to them who you really are. If they cannot see it, that is due to their own blindness. It has nothing. You cannot take these things to heart. That people's willful ignorance, lack of experience, comes at the expense of you. You are just living your life at the end of the day. But on this channel, we always say it's better to understand than to be understood. Because if you understand the people in front of you and the world around you, it is easier to navigate and get where you need to be. And that's what I really showcase on this channel. You do not have to conform. You can be unique. You can be different. You can experiment. You don't have to be one. You could be a little bit of everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is why we have vanilla pockets as it is because people don't want to risk experimenting with who they truly are. So you have to do this, you have to think like this, you have to do that. And this is what really decays humanity and creates the brain rot. But let me know your thoughts. Have you ever been misunderstood? Have you ever went through this? Have you ever heard any of the things that we talked about? Leave your experience and let's dig into it. And if you're lost on how to begin your journey of deviating out of the pockets, or how to get people to see who you are, leave it all in the comments. We'll talk about it and help you through it. That's what this channel is about. But you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video.